What's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Baroshmo, just in case you did not know so. And we're back again, once again. This time we're doing a 2021 NFL mock draft. And this is all based on my predictions of how the draft order might end up looking like. So this is all my projections on how I think teams will do. You can go check that out on my season previews. I did one for each team, as well as a playoff predictors video. And it really helps out with basically assessing what a team may need at the end of the year based on how I think they will do. So that helped out there. This is also based on my new prospect rankings, which will be out here on YouTube around July 5th. At least it'll begin coming out, and then you'll actually be able to view my expanded prospect rankings on FTFN. And if you don't know what that is, here's a quick trailer. Yes, FTFN. It's going to be an awesome site for football fans. You're going to get a lot of different perspectives on sports or football news and analysis. And here on YouTube, you'll get my 10 to 15 top rank prospects at a certain position. And then you could go on to FTFN to get my expanded rankings. So yeah, now you got a nice tangible place to go view that. Ain't that awesome? But go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Remember, this is my opinion. Doesn't mean it's right or it's wrong. It's just my opinion. It's always subject to change. Just give me a good argument. So let's go ahead. Let's dive in. Washington Redskins. Yes, I have y'all having the first pick. And if that's the case, Dwayne Haskins, he's not Riverboat Ron's quarterback. So they move on. They take Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is just a phenomenal prospect, probably one of the best quarterback prospects since Andrew Luck. So yeah, they're not going to pass on him if they have the top pick. Next, I have the New England Patriots, and they're taking Justin Fields at Ohio State, another quarterback. It's going to be a theme here. Quarterbacks are going to be flying off the board. And to put it easily, I'm just not a believer in Stidham. Some people are, some people aren't. I'm not in that. I'm not in the Stidham camp, so I think they'll be looking for their franchise quarterback, and Fields is very close and not too far off from Trevor Lawrence, so these guys should go 1 and 2. And then the Detroit Lions, I got them going Jamar Chase, wide receiver at LSU. This guy right now, hands down, the best wide receiver prospect in the draft. He is phenomenal. Honestly, he would have been up there to be the top wide receiver prospect in this past draft. The guy is that good. He's very physical. There's a lot to like about him, especially with Kenny Galladay's contract being up at the end of this season. They can choose to move on or they can re-sign him. But here, they just go ahead and probably get his replacement. And let's be honest, it'd be an upgrade because Chase is that good of a prospect. And at 4, the Las Vegas Raiders. They're taking quarterback. They're taking Trey Lance, a guy that at least early on, a few months ago, I wasn't as high on him, and which I still have a lot of questions about, just because I love the arm talent. It's just the guy, he doesn't get a lot of opportunity to showcase it there at North Dakota State. That's just not how their offense runs. I think he averages like 18 pass attempts a game. So again, this is all projection. You gotta love the athleticism, you gotta love the arm talent, and if you're I almost said Oakland Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders, then you're probably looking for a new quarterback if you're drafting in the top 4. Derek Carr didn't work. Marcus Mariota didn't work. Go ahead and just get your guy. Get your guy, Gruden. Trey Lance could be your guy. F5, the Miami Dolphins. They're going Penei Sewell out of Oregon. He's a generational, and I know you hear that term thrown around a lot, but really he is. He's a generational tackle talent. He's extremely good. The guy bullies in the run game. He's a phenomenal pass protector. I know the Dolphins just drafted Austin Jackson, but he is a bit of a project. And if anything, you can have Jackson at right tackle, Sewell at left, pick Robert Hunt into guard, which is actually something, if you've been around the channel for a little bit, I think Hunt should convert to guard. So yeah, there we go. And I'm a Dolphins fan, so I know what I'm talking about. At 6, the Jets. They're going with Rondale Moore out of Purdue. This guy he's explosive. He's real jittery, real sudden with his movements. The Jets don't have a receiver like that on the roster. Denzel Mims is not that. and we can get Rashad Bateman. He's just right now. This is one of the stops along whatever bus he is on. I don't think he's a solution to their wide receiver problem. So he offers a lot. He offers something different for the Jets and their wide receiving core, something that they don't have, because Denzel Mims, he's not going to be this explosive after the catch receiver that Moore is. Jamison Crowder, he's not. He's just a slot guy. He gets what he basically takes what he gets. So get Sam Darnold some legit weapons. Moore is legit. And the Chicago Bears at 7, I got them getting Micah Parsons out of Penn State. This was tough because, honestly, if I could, I would have gone quarterback. I don't think there's a top 10 quarterback, top 15, let alone at this point, after the top 3 guys are kind of off the board. So I really, really try to think hard, because Allen Robinson, I think he's a free agent at the end of this season. So you could opt to replace him. You could go edge, but why would you? You just put so much money into Khalil Mack and Robert Quinn. Maybe secondary, perhaps, but I just went with the best player on the board, and best player was Micah Parsons. This guy's a monster. He is truly like that. He's truly a complete linebacker. Even in coverage, he's maybe not as good as some of the other linebackers in this draft at coverage, but he's not far off. This guy, extremely good. And then the Cincinnati Bengals take Gregory Russo out of Miami, Miami Hurricanes fan. What can I say? This guy, he's far from a finished product yet. He is still a bit raw. The guy was a former wide receiver in high school, so yeah, that's to be expected. Last year was his first opportunity to be a starter, and that kind of came, I think, after like week 3 or 4. So this guy, though, for not being a finished product, for being as raw as he is, did extremely well, and you gotta love the physical upside. Carlos Dunlap, at some point, he is gonna call it quits. He is gonna slow down, so they go ahead, they address the defense here. On to pick 9, and I got Marvin Wilson heading to the New York Giants. I just don't think they're gonna re-sign Leonard Williams, right? Leonard Williams, there we go. I just don't think it's gonna happen. He's gonna have a big asking price, and I don't think he's worth it. So go ahead, find a replacement. Marvin Wilson, I honestly thought he deserved to be in the conversation with Javon Kinlaw and Derek Brown, and he just ended up coming back because he did kind of slow down at the end of the season, and then he had the ankle injury, I believe. But this guy is very, very good, very athletic actually for his size, so I like him here. And then the Carolina Panthers, they address defense actually with their whole draft last season. This time they're going offense. Alex Leatherwood out of Alabama. I like him a lot. He's probably one of the best pass protectors, not named Sewell, in this draft. He doesn't really dominate any one snap, but he gets the job done. If he could really lessen the penalties, I believe he had 12 last season, then yeah, he should be the number 2 guy at the tackle position. And then the Chargers, they need a tackle. They're going Walker Little out of Stanford. I've kind of been a Walker Little denier for the better part of a year, but you know what? I took a look at the end of his 2018, and then even that Northwestern game where he got hurt, and he did show me something. He did show a bit of progression as far as becoming more athletic. I just want to see a full season of him proving that he is a more improved pass protector. You kind of saw that at the beginning of 2019, but like I said, cut short from injury. So this is a bit of projection on my part. Still, part of me thinks he'd probably end up better at guard, but as of now, I got him here in the top 15. And then the Jacksonville Jaguars, they go cornerback again. I know they just got CJ Henderson, but that secondary needs more help, and Caleb Farley is phenomenal. The Jaguars, they don't like to run, man. They just don't. So Farley, he's probably the best zone corner in this class. The guy is phenomenal. Again, yes, last season, if he can prove this season that last season wasn't just a fluke because the season before he wasn't so hot, then yeah, he's going to be the top corner off the board. And then at 13, I got the Falcons. They're going Kyle Pitts, the tight end from Florida. I know they just traded for Hurst, and honestly, Pitts, like for the upside that Hurst has for the tight end position, Pitts has that tenfold. He is phenomenal. Like watching him, to me, is like no tight end in this class I think can touch him as a receiver. This guy is phenomenal. He plays like a big receiver. So Pitts, I think he's going to be a hot commodity by this time next year. And then at 14, the Dolphins, they got this pick via the Houston Texans. Thank you very much. I got them going Tamarian Terry out of Florida State, the wide receiver. I have a video on this channel about why I love Scary Terry, why I think he should be a top 10 pick in this draft. The guy, he's put on the weight, he's got great size, he's deadly with the football in his hands, especially after the catch. He's a vertical threat. There's just a lot to like about his game. It's very reminiscent. He's very Randy Moss-esque. I'm not comparing him to Randy Moss. I'm just saying he plays very Randy Moss-esque. So I like that. I think this gives them a true deep threat because honestly, Preston Williams, I don't think he's too much of a deep threat, and Devontae Parker isn't really, or at least not as much as Scary Terry can be. And then at 15, I got the Minnesota Vikings going edge, Xavier Thomas out of Clemson. This guy, yes, he had a down year last year, but you got to keep in mind what they were asking him to do. They were kind of running this weird 3-1-7. They had a bunch of secondary players on the field. They had, I mean, you got guys like Isaiah Simmons, who's probably going to be a linebacker in the next level, and then Tanner Muse, who probably will be a linebacker in the next level, playing as safeties in this scheme. So he was kind of asked to play more of the kind of the 3-tech area. So they were telling him put his hand in the dirt and just go. So he's often matched up against guards. And that's just not, I think, that's not what they asked him to do the year before. I think he's much better on the outside, having him one-on-one with tackles. The guy, he's got a huge physical upside. And I'm going to bet on that upside showing this year. And at 16, the Jacksonville Jaguars get in this pick via the Rams. They're going to go Rashad Bateman out of Minnesota. This guy, he was originally my wide receiver 2 before I kind of redid my rankings. And it's not because I was thinking less of him. It's just this class is so good, it's really hard to rank these guys. I think Bateman could be a perfect complement to Chark, who's more of a deep threat. And this guy, he's very good at attacking the intermediate. He is just, he gets a very good separation. I think he would be very good for Uncle Rico back there. Uncle Rico, he came from the Washington State Mike Leach system of, hey, find your receivers in space. Bateman, he creates space. On to 17, I got the Denver Broncos going with Patrick Surtain II, quarterback out of Alabama. They just need secondary help, and Surtain, he is currently my cornerback 2. He very good in his own right from the minute he stepped onto the campus. They were asking him to do a lot, and that's something to say for Alabama program that just keeps pumping out talent. And then at 18, Arizona Cardinals, they're going Shaun Wade out of Ohio State. My biggest questions, because a lot of people already peg him as a top 10 pick, is I just want to see him play on the outside. It's as simple as that. He's got the ability to. I just want to see him do it. And you know what? The Cardinals, they could use some help in the secondary. They give up a lot of yards, or at least they did the year before. Maybe they'll be better next season. And then at 19, I got the Indianapolis Colts going with Pat Freiermuth out of Penn State. They like their tight ends. Jack Doyle, yeah, he's all right, but they really need another tight end. They love 2 tight end sets, and Freiermuth is just phenomenal. He's probably one of the best blocking tight ends in this draft, and on top of that, he's really good after the catch. He would be very good for whoever would be the quarterback next season. Well, not next season, but in 2020, I guess for the 2021 season, whoever is going to be the quarterback for the Colts. And then at 20, I got the Seattle Seahawks doing Seattle Seahawks things, and they get Christian Barmore out of Alabama. This guy, he saw limited snaps last season there at Alabama on the interior, but when he did, he was extremely effective. He created pressure from the interior. And Seattle, they're actually, if you look at their depth chart, they're pretty skim. They're pretty how would you put, they're devoid of depth on the interior. So getting a guy like this is kind of something Seattle would do. And then the Tennessee Titans, they're going with Chris Rumph out of Duke. This guy, undersized edge rusher, but I kind of like this pick for Tennessee because he kind of feel like a Jamie Collins-like role for Tennessee. This guy, he only saw about 400 pass rushing snaps, but he was basically as effective as Chase Young was when rushing the passer. This guy's phenomenal. He shoots gaps like no other. He's, despite his size, extremely strong, gets good leverage, very quick. He's just a scary prospect and someone to watch out for this season. At 22, the Green Bay Packers, they do what they should have done last season or last draft. They get a receiver. They get Jalen Waddle out of Alabama. He is very, very good. You may say, okay, his stats, they kind of dipped off last season, but that's because they didn't really use him as much as they did the year prior because Alabama had a plethora of wide receivers that were very good there. So I'm excited to see Waddle play. He's just electric with the football. He was up there with CeeDee Lamb as far as yards after the catch in the slot. The guy is just a playmaker. And then at 23, the Pittsburgh Steelers get Big Ben's heir apparent, Brock Purdy out of Iowa State. I like Purdy a lot. I think he's very underrated by a lot of people. This guy, he's very gritty. He's got a decent arm, and he just reminds me a bit of Tony Romo, and that might be a good thing or a bad thing for some people. I think it's a good thing, especially with Big Ben as his mentor if he wants to be. So they need to get the heir apparent. I think Purdy, he has the talent to do so. I think he's just honestly a Pittsburgh type of guy. So they go with Purdy. 24, the Philadelphia Eagles, they stick to the trenches. They get Wyatt Davis out of Ohio State. Brandon Brooks, he went down this year. Not to say that he won't be with the team the following season, but I'm just saying, getting more depth. They like to address the trenches in the draft, typically, especially early in the draft if they can. They just have a history of doing it, regardless who's up there making picks. And Wyatt Davis, he was extremely dominant. I think he only allowed one pressure last season. He's a phenomenal run blocker. I think he can be a top 15, maybe even a top 10 guy when it's all said and done. There's a little bit of Quentin Nelson to his game, so just saying. And then on to 25, we got the Cleveland Browns. They're going with Carlos Basham Jr. out of Wake Forest. This guy, he is a powerful bull rusher. What will they do with Myles Garrett? Will they decide to move on? But even if they do keep him, I mean, Vernon Olivier, he's going to be, is he going to be onto a new squad? Because I think his contract's up at the end of the season. So they get a guy who is probably one of the most dominant bull rushers in this draft. And you know what? Very athletic for the size. I like him a lot. Dallas Cowboys, they're going safety. They're going Trayvon Moehrig out of TCU. He's my favorite safety in this class. This guy just constantly make plays in the secondary. Xavier Woods is a free agent, as well as Clinton Dix. Got that right. I always say Nix. I don't know why. But he's a free agent after this year. They're going to sign him to a one-year deal. So they go ahead, they grab safety. I assume they're going to somehow hold on to Dak. So yeah, they go ahead, they grab a safety. And then at 27, the Buffalo Bills, they go Samuel Cosby out of Texas. I think Cosby honestly could go a lot higher than this, but it didn't fall that way in this draft. So Cosby, super athletic. Super athletic. He's seen a ton of true pass sets, which you kind of want to see that those typically translate to success in the NFL. Thing is, he could use a bit more strength in his game, but the Bills, it was kind of hard trying to figure out what they can go with, so I just went with best player available. But this might not be a bad idea at all. I honestly think they should kick Cody Ford to the interior. I said when he was drafted, I'd rather see him at guard. So they go ahead, they get a right tackle. And at 28, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers get Tom Brady's heir apparent, Jamie Newman out of Georgia. I like this because Newman doesn't have to start immediately. He can literally spend a year under Brady for the last year of Brady's contract. He's kind of exactly what Bruce Arians probably want. This guy is one of the most accurate deep ball throwers in the league, or in the college football, and now he gets to go to Georgia, and that scheme is a little bit more. They have a little bit more emphasis on the intermediate routes, so he gets to kind of just get his game to be a little more well-rounded. So I'm excited. I'd like to see this happen. Just saying, why not get the apprentice, the heir apparent, while Brady is still under contract? And then Baltimore Ravens, they go ahead, they're grabbing Trey Smith out of Tennessee with the 29th pick. I think you just keep addressing the offensive line. They lost Yanda, so Trey Smith honestly probably could go earlier than this. Like, his tape's that good. The only red flag is the blood clots in the lungs. So we'll see. But this guy, he was been very dominant since being moved from tackle to left guard. So I'm just saying, it'd be a solid pick here. And then at 30, the San Francisco 49ers, they're going Travis Etienne out of Clemson because there has to be a running back. Running back goes there, at least one goes in the first round almost every year. It's wild. It's just the thing that happens. But Etienne, he's the only running back I have with a first round grade. He's that good. I think he would thrive in a zone blocking scheme. And what are they running there? What does Kyle Shanahan like to do? Oh, zone blocking scheme. Just saying. I think it would be phenomenal. He's very good. He's very good in the receiving game as well. The dude's a home run threat anytime he catches the ball. He'd be a nice weapon for the squad. And then Kansas City Chiefs at 31, they're going Javon Holland out of Oregon. This guy, he could play in the slot. He could play a little bit around the box. He could also play deep, or he could play single high. There we go. So the Chiefs, they like to run three safeties on the field. That's just a thing they do. They like to do that. So much so that Kendall Fuller, they moved him actually to free safety. Just saying, it's what they do. This is a guy that's very versatile in what you can ask from him. And you already got the Honey Badger, who's very versatile in what you can ask from him. And then Juan Thornhill, who's very versatile in what you can ask from him. So you basically get three guys back there that are kind of the jack of all trades. I like this pick here. And then at 32, I have the Saints going corner, Asante Samuels Jr. That's right, Jr. out of Florida State. He's a guy that I've been very impressed with when I go back and watch the tape of. Honestly, that Florida State defense is kind of scary, just saying. But this is a guy that he can play in the slot, he can play on the outside. He's played well in man, he's played well in zone. He's just that good. This is a guy that honestly could rise his draft stock a lot. And when making this pick for the Saints, I tried to think long and hard about what did the Saints do last season in the draft. Well, they drafted a guard, which wasn't a weak spot on their line, but then they released Larry Wolford. What can they do that's similar to that? Oh, I don't know. Janoris Jenkins, maybe? Just saying, he's getting up there in years as well. So they go ahead, they get a replacement for Janoris Jenkins, not because he's playing bad, they get some more youth. I mean, Larry Wolford, he wasn't playing bad. The same. But that's it for the video. Go ahead, let me know what you think will happen in the draft in the comment section below. And until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.